The book of Deuteronomy. Welcome to Bible on the Go with Dr. Dan. The book of Deuteronomy is a fantastic book because it is the fifth book of what we call the Pentateuch. And the Pentateuch, of course, has another label known as the Torah. Both Pentateuch specifically means 5 books, and Torah means the law, because Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy are all the books of Moses or the books of the law. And they're fantastic because it's the law that God gave the people of Israel after bringing them out of Egypt in the grand salvific moment of the Exodus. And so when Jesus and the disciples refer to the law, and really all Jews, but even Jesus and the disciples refer to the Old Testament as not the Old Testament, but the law and the prophets. So there's a high value placed on the law, and this is the final summation of the law. It was written in the Sinai area where they were wandering in the wilderness at some point. It's the speeches and the sermons of Moses. He's going back over the whole history of bondage in Egypt, and then the great deliverance in Exodus, and then the laws that God gave them from the top of Mount Sinai. And it's easy to understand what God's expectation for his people is if you read the book of Deuteronomy, because it really places all the laws of Leviticus and the stories of Exodus and Numbers in context. And it's really the teaching of Moses for the people of God for the generation to generation to generation that's going to follow the commands of God. And it's highly organized. You can outline the book of Deuteronomy in a fantastic way. Now, Warren Wiersbe, in his expository outlines of the Old Testament, did it, and there's so many out there, but I chose this one because it's so simple and really gets to the point. First, he says, are historical concerns. Moses looks back from chapters 1 to 4. He talks about all that God has done for them and how he has delivered them from the hand of bondage. And then practical concerns, and this is the largest part of the book, from chapters 5 to 26, where he really tells them how to live. And then prophetical concerns, where Moses looks ahead from chapters 27 to 30, and then personal concerns, where Moses looks up in chapters 31 to 34. So it's a very complete, exhaustive lesson and set of lessons or set of sermons on all that God did for the people of God. Well, my favorite verse is Deuteronomy 6, 4 and 5. It's a part of the grander passage of Deuteronomy 6, 1 through 9, known as the Shema, or the teaching, which is really the paradigm of discipleship for the whole Bible. When the disciples had asked Jesus what was the greatest commandment, he went to the Shema and quoted it and then added, love your neighbor as yourself. But I love the content portion of the Shema in verses 4 and 5. It's the only thing that the Israelites, in terms of content about God, that they need to know. And then the rest, of course, is talking about method. But here it says in verses 4 through 5 in the Christian Standard Bible, listen, Israel, the Lord, our God, the Lord is one. There's only one God out there. You're not going to find several gods. See how easy it is to preach on it? The Lord, our God, the Lord is one. And in verse 5, love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your strength. The content is so powerful in these verses because it's the theological truth that there's only one God, but it's the powerful relational truth that you can love this God, not with just your mind, but with your heart, your soul, and your strength. Glory to his name, right? The paradigm of discipleship for the whole rest of the Bible there in the last book of the Pentateuch, Deuteronomy. Thanks for watching Bible on the Go with Dr. Dan. If you like these videos, the best thing you can do is hit that button called subscribe. You only have to do it once, and it doesn't cost a single thing. Praise God!